there's always the trailer, and then there's the actual product. And the actual product that was given to me was just a headache, just a real headache. You know, I really appreciate the t-shirt that they gave me. Beau is Afraid is the latest film by A24, directed by Aster and starring Joaquin Phoenix. But our audience is going to be way too afraid to go and spend their money on this 3-hour long nightmare? I don't think so. My expectations for this film were absolutely through the roof. Let's just be honest. This is coming from the guy who did Hereditary, who did Midsommar. I recommended these films to friends and families, and they all got back to me with different reactions, different levels of conversations, and ultimately it always came back with that film was absolutely terrifying. That is a nightmare. That is a horror film that has not been delivered or shown on this modern day level before. This guy really felt like he was getting into his groove of things like right off the bat. And there's always these up and coming young directors who knock it out of the park with their first, second film, and then it always gets to their third, fourth, or fifth, somewhere right around there when they start thinking, I want to do a 3-hour-long movie. I want to do a 4-hour-long movie, which apparently this was supposed to be 4 hours long. I cannot imagine what a 4-hour-long movie of this magnitude would have looked like. I honestly probably would have just walked out, because right around the 2.5-hour mark, I was really getting exhausted with this film, and I had to just walk out into the lobby, not even needing to use the restroom, but just needed to take a mental break. My head was killing me. My eyes were killing me. My heart was pounding, and not from being scared or terrified or traumatized or anything like that, or triggered, but rather just being kind of stressed out and like confused, and not in the best way possible. And I go out into the lobby, and I have my head down. I'm just kind of like in my own thoughts, trying to process like what I've seen thus far. And I'm not trying to leave the movie too long. I may have been out there for like 2 minutes, but there was another woman sitting out there too, and she was asking me so many questions. She was like, "Are you watching the film too? What do you think about it?" Like, I had to step out of it, and we both were just kind of like, I don't know how you even talk about it. I don't even know how you explain this to people. I don't even know where to even begin with it. You know, it's such a simple, basic premise, really, when you think about it and boil it down. It's just about a guy that is on his way to visit his mother, and a lot goes on between there. There are certain twists and turns that are revealed at the very end that, do they really pay off? Does the film really have this high payoff? The way that Hereditary has a great payoff, the way that Midsommar has an insane payoff, does this film really, is it going to stand the testament of time? And I saw in an interview just this morning of Aster saying that, you know, these it's so hard for him to even talk about. He doesn't even want to talk about it. It's going to make him so sick to try and even explain it to people. They just want the movie to exist for 10 years and then they can talk about it, which to me is just kind of insane. If you can't, in current real time, like, okay, there's two different explanations for your film. There's your interpretation of it. We made this film because it made me feel this way and think this, and these were all of the inspirations that there's your side of the story, and then there's the audience's. So you, as the director, you have to kind of translate that for us. You know, when you're marketing it, when you know that you can't really explain your side of it, but you can explain what audiences are going to get. This is what you can expect out of it. This is what you're going to feel. If you really liked this, then you're going to love this. If you remember that, then you'll remember this. So there's a whole scheme and marketing to being a director. And I understand that some of these guys are tours and they're so pretentious, and nobody knows and understands the level of thinking that they go into with these films. But I really feel like you have to have someone, and especially in this guy's case, there's no one on set telling him, no, don't do that. There's no one telling him, okay, can we do this? Can we try it that way? I don't believe for one second anyone is really challenging him besides the collaboration that he has with Joaquin Phoenix as his actor. I believe that they're having notes and ideas of the story between themselves, but there's not really this open collaboration with everyone in the crew and the team. It kind of just feels like we're here to do what Ari wants, and what Ari wants, Ari gets. And he got this giant therapeutic film, which also a lot of these directors always feel the need to make a movie about some issue that they had growing up, you know, with their moms or their dads. You know, this is pretty much the Fablemans, but with like crazy intense visuals, you know. But at the end of the day, it's just Fablemans. You know, there's not, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you there's this crazy twist, there's a cult, there's a demon, there's this, there's that, but what's the payoff? What was all of this kind of just like alluding to and bringing me to? And I don't think that I don't understand the movie. I don't think that there was anything that I missed that I don't understand from it. I really just think a lot of dead air. Just a lot of dead air. A lot of tension building that ultimately goes nowhere. Now look, you can break this movie into 3 parts, okay? You got the first hour, you got the second hour, you got the third hour, okay? First hour, not so bad, okay? It was very, very anxiety for me. You know, my heart was kind of pounding just from the audio. But once it got a little bit past that, and the story started kind of kicking in, and then I'm starting to really connect with Beau as a person, and I started really feeling for him. I really started to like the movie. I really liked this first hour, and then the second hour takes another turn. He's not visiting, but stumbling upon friends along his way and his journey, and you can't really tell, like, does this second hour have anything to do with what's going to be set up for the third hour? And then the third hour comes along, and then all of a sudden there's a giant dick monster in the attic, and you have no idea why. And everything just kind of feels like a sketch. Everything feels like a giant SNL sketch. There was moments in the theater during the movie where I wanted to kind of break down for Beau. I was feeling just as paranoid for him and just as anxious for him, and I was really feeling for the character, and I wanted to feel so bad for him and cry for him. But then you have the audience around me cracking up at the situation. They're laughing at what's happening to him. They're laughing at the world around him. And it just seems like the whole thing was designed to give pity to this guy. And what you're left with is a mixed bag of emotions for me. You know, I really didn't know what to walk out and feel with this movie. I think I immediately left the theater, but I can just hear, without even trying to overhear, I could hear what other people are saying about it. And you're going to have 2 completely different reactions, pretty much. And this is literally what I saw. The first reaction was a guy walking out, and he was shaking his head, very upset. You know, you can tell from his demeanor and everything. And he just goes, that's 3 hours I'm not going to get back. That's a one and done. I'm never going to see that movie again. There's no need to see that movie again. There's no 10 watches, you know, oh, you understand it here. There's nothing like that. It is what it is. And I just kind of cracked up, and I was like, damn, man, I feel you. And then you have the second reaction where you're going to get those guys that are like real cinephile nerds and hipsters with the ponytails, and they walk out and they're like, that was a masterpiece, man. That was so epic. The cinematography was great. You know, I couldn't really feel that way for this movie. You know, there's always the trailer, and then there's the actual product. And the actual product that was given to me was just a headache, just a real headache. You know, I really appreciate the t-shirt that they gave me. I am always impressed with Joaquin Phoenix's performance. I'm always in love and in awe of watching him act. I feel this way with many people. This is kind of like, you know, they can do no wrong. You know, they really pick their projects right. And I really do think that he picked the right project. This isn't the case where it's like, oh, he should have avoided this and stay. I see the appeal to it, and I see why the challenge that he wanted out of it, and I really think he got it. Like, he bodies the role. If you're gonna watch this movie, of course you're watching it for Joaquin Phoenix and seeing the damage that he goes through and then the pain that he suffers from. And ultimately, the pain that he's suffering from is similar pain that the audience is suffering from the director. Is that, like, I don't know why you're making me go through this, and when the ending comes, it just kind of comes and goes. You have one crazy cameo in this movie, and I'm gonna say it is Bill Hader, and nobody's gonna even really notice. It's literally like his back is turned, and nobody in the theater even noticed. And had I not spent all morning watching interviews of Bill Hader talking about the new season of Barry in the first year, I would have not recognized him. I would have not known it was him, because it was so, like, subtle and just not so. The supporting roles and the supporting characters and side characters in this film are great. They're good. Everyone is bringing their A game in. It seems like they understand the goal and the mission here, which is to deliver a crazy performance for the director. Because it seems if the director is writing a crazy ass story, we're gonna bring a crazy ass performance to it. So you're getting all of that, but is all of that enough to justify the audience to have to sit here for 3 hours, man? Because listen, I watched Babylon. I sat through Babylon. I sat through Avatar. I sat through John Wick. I sit through these 3-hour-long films, and I'm totally cool with it, you know, as long as what it is that they're delivering for me, you know, is the pacing good, you know, can you keep me locked in my seat that whole time? And oh man, it was hard for me to not. I had to get up and sit somewhere else for a while, because I just hated where I was sitting. I started feeling claustrophobic and uncomfortable. I had to sit alone for a minute. I think directors can be allowed to create their own vision, to really go to obscure places. I'm totally down with that. I am that kind of director as well. However, you need to understand that you're making a film for majority audiences. You have to sell tickets. You have to get people in the seats. You have to sell the concept and the idea. And I feel like this idea was only sold for him. I feel like no one was like, he came in and was like, I want to make this movie. This is my passion project. I've been putting this on a hold for a while. I need to make it. And they're like, okay, fine. Yeah, sure. Yeah. You seem very passionate about it. Then yeah, go ahead, do it. You know, had there been someone to actually break it down and go through it and be like, listen, dude, this is very big. This is ambitious. You know, you're asking for a lot from a small studio like us. We're totally down to support you the way that you're asking. However, you're gonna have to make some compromises here with us, man. Like, first and foremost, you're not gonna make no 4-hour long movie. You're not gonna make no 3-hour long movie. 240 maybe, 230 sure, like, but we're just asking too much out of regular audiences, your average Joe, to go and pay $15 or plus more, plus snacks and whoever else they're taking, and you're asking them for so much to sit there and have to go through this when they could literally be doing anything else. They could wait for this to come out, and you want this to be a theatrical thing. You want this to be an event. I also kind of just don't understand why they shot this in IMAX. I saw it on an IMAX screening, and it just didn't make any sense to me why I had to see it on a big screen like that. It didn't really feel like a spectacle. I remember when that audio tape leaked of the audience members, you know, saying like, this is a career killer, you know, this is going to ruin the guy's career. I don't know how you make this movie and expect people to go and see it. I'm not jumping up ahead and saying that. Like, I do think, like, you know, just the way Hollywood works, like, this guy's going to get greenlit again. He's going to continue to make films, and that's not going to stop. However, I just don't think that this one hit the mark for us. This may have hit the mark for him. This may have been something for him and him alone. But I don't see anyone talking about Beau is Afraid the way that they talked about Midsommar, the way that they talked about Hereditary. Very curious what it is you think about Beau is Afraid. It's hitting theaters this weekend. Let me know in the comments below, or tweet at me at It's Isaac Joel. Be sure you subscribe to the channel and stay up to date with everything that we have coming out. As always, I have been your host right here at the Critics. I'll see you next time.